Hello, everyone. It's Colin here, Colin Cooper, with another CEO Talks. And today I'm joined with Steve Plummer, the master copywriter and entrepreneur from Australia, also known as the number one direct sales copywriting in Australia. And I would personally say the world, because I've had the pleasure of working with Steve for a very long time now. Steve, welcome. I'm really looking forward to doing a deep dive in today's session.
Thank you, Cole. They're your words about that ranking. I don't buy into that too much, but thank you very much for your kind words there. And it's a pleasure to be here too.
Absolutely. So, Steve, today I wanted to talk about, AI. I'm a massive fan of artificial
Mm-hmm.
intelligence and the uses, and I think
Yeah.
it's got a lot of good, but we're going to do a deep dive into some of the dark side, I think, of it as well.
Mm,
But one
mm,
thing which I
mm,
think is really concerning, which I'm seeing a lot of, is people saying, okay, well, I don't need a copywriter and, I can just do it all on AI. And I think that's really the wrong approach because we're starting to see that it needs human and AI working
mm.
together as a team. And I know that you've got some thoughts, you've got some processes, and you've got something which is working really well. And I'm hoping I can get you to share some of those secrets today with the audience that's watching. Did you want to share a little bit more about what you're doing and your
Yeah, I'll
thoughts on
share
this?
just a little bit, Cole. We can't pull the curtain back too much, but yeah, thanks very much for that, Cole. Look, so AI to me is a tool, right? It's not the be all and end all. It still requires the the beautiful machine that is the human brain. That can empathize, that can strategize, that can connect. AI is very good for speed for certain things, but it is not the be all and end all of copywriting. I mean, I use it as a tool, but it is just a tool. And like you, I mean, I know you are heavily and have been heavily into AI, and I've been using it too in various forms. There's some software that can test the engagement level and the um, emotional value, pardon me, of your headlines and so forth. And I've been using those for a number of years, and they're getting more and more, I guess, beefy now. Um, but and that sort of thing gives speed because you then don't have to go and test something, in an advertisement or a pay-per-click ad to see what's working. So yeah, it's a tool. It's a really good tool. But I guess like everything in this world, night and day, summer and winter, there is a bit of a dark side to it. And I don't know if you wanted to go there, but we can
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely. I
that,
think let's do a deep
the
dive
flip
into that.
side of it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll be blunt with you. I have a little bit of a fear almost for humanity. I wonder if too many of us are handing over the critical thinking part to AI, thinking that it will just do it because it's human nature to want things instantly, right? If I've got a headache, I just want the magic pill that's going to take my headache. So we want speed, we want instant, and I wonder if two things. One, we're not thinking as much because we're handing things over to AI. We're not thinking critically enough. And secondly, because AI can do something really quick, are we really connecting to people? And it's a deeper issue too, because you see a bunch of teenagers out, they're sitting around a table and they're all doing this, right, even though they're together having fun. But there is a disconnect there, and it's a broader issue about technology. And I've got to say, Cole, I am also um, a little bit loath at times to talk about that because it can come across as just an old fogey who's not keeping up with the times. And I think it's a deeper issue than that. It's just I see those two things. Are we losing our ability to think and to think critically and to think deeply? Because this thing in our head is one of the most amazing machines on this planet. And are we handing its capacity over to machine learning and not using our full potential? And then are we disconnecting as a result of that? It's a very interesting question. Like I said, I think I've got some fears for humanity and how we actually navigate that, right?
It is a challenge. We are seeing it more and more on a day-to-day basis where people are handing over the control and the keys to AI. And in fact, in my weekly newsletter that we put out, I put in there about epic fails, and there was one recently to do with quite a very well-known courier company, and the AI bot, which is good, but was swearing at customers. And the
uh,
well, not a good look. And
no.
that went viral. And if you look at on Twitter or now X and that, or on Reddit, you'll find it. But I think one of the fundamental concerns that I have with AI, and you're right in what you're saying. Yes, we use AI on a daily basis with a lot of different things that we do, but it's a tool. It hasn't. It should never replace anything. It's like the tool when the internet first came about was, people were advertising in the yellow pages, and then the tool
Mm,
was using the internet to get a website, and that
yeah.
was a tool, no different to doing pay-per-click ads or whatever that might be. They're all tools. Whereas
Yeah.
AI, it's kind of feels like people are allowing it to step over this line of going, okay, I want you to not just be a tool, but I'm going to be guided by you. Now
Yeah.
that's a real scary thought, because ultimately it's just a large language model.
Mm,
And so it's just been trained on a whole lot of data. And although that it appears that it might be bringing out emotional states or communicating with you on an energetic level, so you're being able to make a connection, it's actually not. It's
mm,
just ultimately it's just zeros and ones, which is basing it very good based on language.
mm,
So we are seeing this where people are saying, okay, well, I can just write. I think the dark side of the web is that we've seen these content farms pop up, right, where
mm, mm,
they're producing 100 to 150,000 words a day using AI. Now, that's all well and good, but you can't fact check it. And most of it is the emotional connection isn't there. And big companies, Google and others, they now going, okay, well, we're looking at what is the customer centric intent. What are they doing? Are they not just that they reading it, but how fast are they reading through? And then are they going into your website or product for more information? So they're monitoring, okay, you can produce content using AI, not a problem at all. But we've tested this, we've split tested this multiple times now in multiple niches. 100% AI written content, or AI written content in with an expert writer
mm,
like yourself, or a copywriter.
yeah.
The one which is mixed always outperforms, outsales the article, the AI written one only,
Yeah.
because there are missing components. It's
Yeah.
like giving it, an 18-year-old the keys to a car without having any driving lessons. Sure, they can start the car up and off they can go, but it's probably going to end up in a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
This is what we're now seeing with people producing AI content. Saw
Yeah.
one the other day, an email from a fairly well-known person, because I'm on their list. They're maybe them or one of their team members. They'd literally just copied and pasted the prompt from a well-known um, GPT provider, and the it still had all the little asterisks in,
Oh,
so you
really?
knew
Wow.
100%.
Oh, dear.
And it's like
Oops.
that would have gone out to a list of about 150,000 people, and
Yeah.
it's like, but people start to go, well, hang on a sec, you're teaching marketing, you're teaching copy,
Yeah.
and you're not taking the time to just put your stuff, you're just copying and pasting this stuff. And I think ultimately you lose faith from the customer.
Mm,
And I know that you do this a lot now, where you're looking, and you've always done this in your copy. And I'd just like to turn around and say to anyone that's watching this, Steve and I have worked on multiple campaigns, both small and large.
mm,
And one of the things, and I'd like to turn around and say, not being paid to say this is just from my own personal experience, is that pretty much 99% of the time we've been able to take the copy, the emails, and literally just turnkey it. Just go, okay, it goes onto a landing page, someone designs it, and we start to see results straight away. And I don't think people realize on how rare that is in campaigns. Now,
Thank you. Thank you. I
Steve,
appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
you have a flow here about where you are using AI in conjunction with writing copy.
Yeah.
and I'm going to see if I can prize this out of you to
Okay.
share it something with our audience to go, okay, what are you finding that's working really well to get the conversions? Because you've got a campaign recently that, what was it, 20 million or something that it
Mm.
did. So could you just share a little bit more about what you're doing with AI and maybe a little bit more about that campaign? That's
Yeah,
okay.
it's an interesting one, Colby. And I actually want to go back one step. You mentioned, how AI was replacing, and you and I have taught this, and you and I have been in the room with students and taught this. There's a lot of one of my again concerns is a lot of the fundamentals of why people buy that have been ignored. And I'll just give you one quick example. You'd be aware of the study that was of the top 100 performing headlines in newspaper advertisements, and the top the top words in that, your, how, new, who, money, now, people, want, why. You and I have taught that to rooms of people in the past, and the interesting thing is that those things work because they work, and you could almost always improve the power of a headline by including one or two of those words. Yet every time I teach that, still people quickly take notes because they haven't seen that they haven't been exposed to that, and that's one of those things which I think aligns with what you were saying about how the human and the AI versus the AI is going to outperform. Now I'm sure someone will be able to game the system enough to prove that statement wrong, but to me it holds true, just for that human touch, that human element in it. So to go back to your question about prizing a little thing out, one of the things as a copywriter we would always do is analyze analyze the testimonials to see what the hot buttons are in a market, and that depending on how many testimonials, how many videos you had to watch, how many Google reviews, etc., 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 that would take a day, half a day, a week, whatever it was in the research process, because you're looking for repeated patterns of words. Now, this is where AI is a really cool tool, right? You can upload all of those things that would have taken you hours to read through, put in the right couple of prompts, and then you can get the language patterns and the emotional states and the emotional buttons of the market from the testimonials and so forth. And so there's a day, a week, whatever's worth of work down into the amount of time it takes you to copy and paste into AI or attach it to the AI, give it the prompts, and then have it spit out and look at it. So that's one example, Cole, of how AI is really, really good for copywriting, because it is a tool to use. But to close that loop, that only goes so far if you don't understand the fundamentals of human behavior and what causes a human being to buy. Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's having that understanding. It's the fundamental understanding of why people do what they do and
Yeah.
those trigger points, and being able to, and as you said, using AI as a tool, because you can see that if you've been able to look at those testimonials or analyze videos, excuse me, you can feed that in, and with the right prompts, and I just want to be really clear here, with the right prompts,
Yeah.
you'd be able to get the information out into some form of manageable format that you can go, okay, here's them broken down into emotional states, or here's the top
Yeah.
10 keywords that we need to use in the copy, etc.
Correct.
I think
Yeah.
what people mistake though is that you can't, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, you can't just say to the AI and say, hey, here's the top 10 emotional states, whack it in a piece of copy, and then that copy's going to convert. Sure, it might give you a first draft to work with, but you're not going to be able to take that verbatim and it's just going to
No.
work off the fly,
No.
is it?
No. Absolutely not. And to be really blunt again, a lot of the skill in copywriting is not the writing itself, but it's in the editing of it, right? And if you can't edit for speed of the read and for flow and all of those sorts of things, then your copy is going to be really flat and not very effective. So,
Could we just do focus on that just for a couple of minutes? You're talking about the speed of the read and the flow, and I think that's not talked about a lot anymore. It used to be,
yeah, true.
but
Yeah.
if you've got someone coming down a page of copy or in an advert, do you just walk through just the basic structure of that flow, from the headline to the sub headline to the paragraph to the picture which is positioned in a particular place. It's, we haven't just gone, okay, we're just going to pop a picture there because it looks nice. There's a reason
Mm.
for every line and every step. Could you just spend a couple of minutes just talking through that? Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just, I guess, start randomly. It is, all copy and marketing is situational, so it depends on the media that you're in. So take my comments with the broad brush as opposed to, no, that was specific to a certain media. I'll just start, Cole, with the image. If ever you're using an image, make sure there's a caption in it. Why? Because the human eye is trained to look at picture, look for a caption. And it might just be a phrase or that sentence in the caption that contributes to the sale. So that's one thing. And obviously, overarching, then our headline has to be big to catch their attention. If you don't get them at hello, a bit like the Jerry Maguire movie, you had me at hello. If you don't get them at hello, it's over. Nothing else matters. And that's why studying, great templates, power words to use in headlines is really, really important. One thing I will say, Cole, is what I found useful for AI in headlines, it sometimes can give me language patterns or word combinations that I haven't thought of. So when I'm playing around with headlines and stuff, I'll ask it to give me, different alternatives, and I might go, so most of the headline might be rubbish, but I like the way those three words are actually placed that I hadn't thought of. So that's another example of where AI is quite good. So yeah, obviously I want a headline to get attention. Now, really 8 to 12 words, depending if it's an online thing, you maybe want to get it to 5 words or close to that. It's got to be done quickly, but people have to understand it in a really fast way, particularly online, because we're doing this all the time, and we're clicking off emails, email subject line, headline, same thing. So you've got to be good at getting attention in a smart way. And so a headline, subhead, a really strong opening paragraph that is going to tell them something they don't know or give them an important reason to move on, or to read on rather. And then whatever copy it is, you also need to follow a formula, a proven formula that has proven over time to work, because it taps into those human buying behavior triggers. And obviously then there's a call to action at the end. If there's no call to action, if there's no next step, well, what's the point? So I don't know if that's what you are.
That?
Yeah. I don't know if that's what you're after, but that's a 1 minute summary of, and I haven't made any of that stuff up. I've learnt that stuff and I use that stuff. But that's what works, right? That's what helps. That's what moves people from inaction to buying, right? And that's why we're marketing, why we're writing copy, why we're advertising.
Fine line, but that's what works. Now, I mentioned about this campaign that you put together recently. Now, I don't know the all the details, but I believe that it was 20 million plus campaign. It's been very successful. Yep. Obviously, different for privacy reasons, you can't go too in depth into that. Yep. But you're running a 3-day workshop where you're breaking that campaign down, and some of the things that we've spoken about today, obviously you're going to be doing a deep dive, pulling that curtain back and walking people through. Could you just tell us a little bit more, about that campaign and why it was so successful, and B, this 3-day workshop which is coming up shortly, and kind of, if people are interested, how do they get in contact with you?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So the A answer is the $20 million plus campaign in the corporate world. And this is something that I advocate in just about all campaigns, is a multi-channel approach, right? If you can hit people in different media, you've got a much better chance of success, right? And that campaign was a multimedia campaign. And the key thing with that is it got around the gatekeeper. And this is what we're talking about, the corporate space. And the higher, I guess, you go up in business, the busier people are, the harder they are to get to. And so the lessons from that campaign, which I've used several times, are applicable to many, many industries, because there is a certain when you get to a certain level, as I said, people get blocked at the gate. The gatekeepers are very, very good, so calls get ignored, emails get
That's what
deleted.
they're there for, right?
No, correct, right? And so you have to take a different multi-channel approach to get around that gatekeeper, so you can actually talk to the decision maker. And that was the, I guess, the principle that I followed in that campaign, and that's the principle I follow as much as I can wherever I'm doing it. So we're talking online and offline copy. Offline copy, Cole? Yes, that still works, right? Yeah.
That word's banned now.
Yes, yeah. What? Who does that?
But
right?
combined, when you combine them with campaigns, they are so potent.
Yeah.
They produce so good results. But
yeah.
And for the last 20 years, we've heard about offline copy is dead and email marketing is dead, and there's this next best thing. Well, email marketing is still alive and more popular than ever. Offline copy is still here; it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. That dirty word, offline, right? So, but that was the cornerstone of success of that, and it's the cornerstone of success of many campaigns. And I guess that, to me, that's very much part of the humanity thing and the connection thing, right? I mean, us humans still love a tactile experience where we pick something up and look at it, right? That's not going to change, because that's who we are. And I also think, right, that we are analog beings making way in a digital world. We're not digital beings in a digital world. And so wherever we can, wherever we can, I advocate, how can we accommodate the still analog being in this digital world? And that's why that multi-channel approach works really well, because it's part of, I guess, the old human with the new technology. And so to get to part B, the 3-day event I'm running at the end of the month, I'll be showing, and it's only for a small number of businesses, 5 only. So it's a very intimate room. There'll be hot seats. I'll be showing that campaign and breaking it down and showing businesses how to actually apply it to their situation, so they can get around the gatekeeper with their own multi-channel, multimedia campaign. It's going to be really cool, a lot of fun. And so the psychology of it, what to send, when to send it, how to follow up, all of those sorts of things, to not beat down the door, but go around the door to get to the decision maker, so you can actually have a sales conversation with them. And that's quite nuanced, right, about how you position yourself. And that's not something that AI is going to tell you, right? There's some deep thought that must go into that, and some deep thought that goes into the positioning and what you say when you're reaching out. But when you do get your foot in the door, and you are seen to be serious with it, not just another pesky salesperson, the results can be spectacular. You become that trusted advisor, as opposed to that sales pest that no one likes. So that's very much a part of what we'll be doing over 3 days. What to say, how to say it, when to say it. Each participant will walk away with their own beat the gatekeeper blueprint. They can start to use at work the next day to build out their particular campaign to get around the gatekeeper. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of, obviously, I guess, intimate work one-on-one with me, in a really small group environment, which I haven't done for quite a number of years, Cole. So I'm kind of excited about it. Yeah.
I know. When you've ran exclusive events like this, they're normally into the tens of thousands, but you told me the price of what you're running this event at, and I almost fell off my chair. And would you like, because it's so cheap, would you mind sharing what the price is, and because obviously it is such a small group, but just before you do that, am I right in thinking then people will come literally through the 3-day, it's an immersive experience, so they've got 3 days with you working on their business, their campaigns, looking at the copy, creating a blueprint, so when they walk away, not only are they going to have all the fundamentals of a campaign that they can work with, you're also going to be teaching them the principles as well that go behind those campaigns, so they can continue to not just create that campaign, they can use it for other campaigns that they need to create in the future. Correct. Is that right?
That's a really good point, and you're 100% right. So it becomes an asset. It becomes an investment.
It's an investment
asset in the business, right? And that's the key thing, because anyone can learn a trick or two, and it might come off, it might not come off. But if you've got an asset that you can use in your business and deploy at different times, man, that puts you on a whole different level. And I guess the really cool thing about it too, Cole, is most of what, because it is done behind the scenes, most of it is very stealthy. So your competitors can't see what you're doing as well, right? And that's, they just look around going, how the hell did they get that guy as a client? So it's a really important point to make. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so it's only 5K, but because it is the start of the year, I've reduced that to 3,500 plus GST, and it's on the Sunshine Coast at my waterfront home. Just 4 or 5 people, depending on how many do register, but no more than 5. Why? Because that's all I can fit comfortably in the workshop space that I've got at home here on the water. So
it's not a bad place to have a workshop, is it? Right on the water.
Right.
I've been. Your place is absolutely lovely. So
thank you.
It's a great setting to do brainstorming, working on your business, and that. Now, is there anything else to do with the workshop? What do people need to bring if they're interested in going? How do they get in contact with you to find out more information?
Yeah, no, they don't need to bring anything except an open mind, a willingness to transform their thinking, and even transform energetically, so it opens up the next step of doing something different. That's a really important thing. Now, how to get in contact with me, you can do it via LinkedIn. It's just the LinkedIn thing with Steve-Plummer, Plummer. You can contact me on Facebook, or you can email me, steve@symmetrymarketing.com.au. Now, SYMMETRY marketing.com.au. So the process, Cole, this is not for everyone. Like I said, it's not an inclusive event where there's a whole lot of people. It's an exclusive event, just a small number of people. So because it is a small number of people, I want to speak to you first to make sure that it aligns with you and the training suits you, and you're going to get maximum value out of the training, because in 5 people, there's nowhere to hide, right? And so it needs to be aligned for you, and you need to be aligned with it for it to work effectively. So it's a matter of contacting me. I'll send you a link to where we'll have a Zoom chat for 10 or 15 minutes to sort out what you want to do and whether it aligns. If it aligns, you'll be offered a place. If it doesn't align, we'll part as friends. So it's a very simple process, and it's a human connecting process as well, I guess. If I'm going to be working intimately for over 3 days with someone, I want to have met them, had a chat to make sure that everything is on, in alignment, so we get the most out of it.
Absolutely. Steve, wow, absolutely wonderful to speak to you again. And I wish I was in Australia at the moment. I'm currently in the UK, but I wish I was in Australia because I'll be at the event myself. Anyone that's watching this, if you can't find Steve's contact details, just message on wherever you're watching the video, because I will post this onto my channels. Steve will probably post, I think you'll post it onto yours.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that Steve's contact details is under there. And if you haven't got a copy of Steve's book yet, make sure you get a copy of Steve's book. I will put the link under this video to make sure that you get a copy of that. Yes, that book. Mine looks very similar. It's up on the bookshelves. I've got lots of notes.
Yeah.
Steve, any final thoughts or words of wisdom before we wrap up today?
Final thoughts. You don't have to always follow the crowd. Sometimes what works because it works, right? And we don't need to throw all of that stuff out that has been decades, if not a century more, of learning about what moves people. We just have to adapt it for the modern society. And, that's what we're going to do over the 3 days. So, I'll look forward to seeing you if you're there and it aligns. Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, really hope that you've enjoyed today as much as I have. I think hopefully you've had a pen and paper. I've been taking notes as we've been going along. So there's lots of good snippets there that you can use in your business as well. Have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Steve, thank you again. Take care.
Thanks, Cole. Appreciate it.